Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Game 3 coming at you between two monolith Terran players. This is Base Rate TV, and we're honored to be casting for DreamHack Bucharest because we get games like these epic series, just tantamount to everything when it comes down to just how amazing this has been. But, of course, this is Rifkin, gushing all over the place. My co-caster today is Doom. Esports, whatever your official name is, but anyways, spawning in the lower right corner of Whirlwind, playing for the team property, sponsored by Broadband 2. It is the blue Terran player, Sjow.
Doom Esports, both of those work. The important part is we're casting an amazing matchup here with this other player spawning in the lower left-hand corner of the map. From Team Liquid, he is the red Terran player, Taeja.
And I'm just going to take a quick peek to see if he responded.
Well, 1-1 in the series here. Taeja tying up with that last game. If you guys missed the first game in the series, it was crazy. Absolute insanity. Sjow on Neoplanet as showing us why he is been called in the past a Code S level TDT player. Pretty much pushing Taeja to the brinks in that game, putting him on the ropes and just really dominating with a solid Marine tank style. The upgrades have really been a factor throughout the course of these games where Taeja's taking an early advantage there. But if Show's able to get his aggro up to try to distract Taeja, he can somewhat catch up in that regard. But Whirlwind, a very different map, and we're seeing that early stage of the game here with Sjow going for command center first in this situation.
Yeah, and just a small update before we hop into too much of this match. So I messaged White, and I guess I don't know if the main stage is claiming Flash versus White. For those who don't know, the community casters were all basically told like the main stage might steal your matchup, so be prepared with a backup. So we don't know if that's happening or not yet. So ideally, we're either going to try and cast Flash versus White after this series, or Stardust versus Nurcho. Ideally, one of those two will be following this series. Just as for everybody tuning in.
It's me all wiggly, Rifkin.
I know. I'm stoked to cast anyone at this group stage. Like group stage 2 is amazing. Group stage 3 is gonna be phenomenal. But okay, double barracks falling up the early command center. Sjow not going for a double Reaper opening. I guess when you're playing on a map like Whirlwind, you can't really go beeline to your opponent's base, and not to mention Reapers on Whirlwind suffer the same problem that they do on Aklon, where there's not a whole lot of space to get into your opponent's base.
Yeah, I like the decision here to go for the command center first, and if he can really take advantage of it, I think he'll be pretty set in this game. But Taeja going for this rare factory, I'm wondering if he'll try to deviate back to that Cloak Banshee style that we saw him try to make work in the beginning of the series here, and like that fast starport, baby.
Well, I was gonna say if he does, it certainly won't be proxied. That's for sure. Yeah, with the tech lab on the factory, 100% that's gonna be a Banshee because no one really rushes a Raven blindly on a 4-player map. There are some builds that actually do incorporate a very fast Raven, but this is not one of them.
Well, this is going to get interesting here. Taeja, has he actually scouted out anything? Nope, has not sent a scout out on the field. First SCV looks like it is going to be tracking for Show's base, so a fortunate scout off there for Taeja in this situation, but I'm not sure how happy he'll be when he sees the fact that a command center has already been established for his opponent, and he's still on one base.
Well, if he can get enough damage in with the Banshee, then he's probably not going to feel too upset about it. Cloak Banshee is, of course, amazing at picking off SCVs, especially dancing around on maps like Whirlwind, where you actually have dead space to hide behind the base. Yeah,
what a big pick off there. Yeah, no scout off there for Taeja. Didn't see anything. Going to be forced to perhaps use the scan here to try to see what's going on, or once he gets the Banshee, maybe he'll just use that for his scouting. It's entirety.
Oh, you silly people. If you didn't see game 1, go watch the VOD of it. He did start with proxy Banshees, but that's not how he lost the game. It was like a 50-minute macro battle.
Yeah, but, you know, Sjow finding that proxy Banshee really set the tone for the matchup here, and I feel like everything's kind of swinging into Show's favor so far. He's got a decent Marine count, too, so even if a Banshee does make its way over here, he should be able to deter it. Dropping those mules, though, I'm going to be curious to see if he saves a scan. Maybe he thinks that something's coming potentially, but with that engineering bay, he should be able to get turrets up.
I like that he has his Marine spread in the line. For those who don't know, the reason you do this is because if your opponent comes at you with Hellions and you're balled up, you're going to lose all your Marines, but by spreading them out, it really limits the damage potential of any Hellions. But of course,
and mass Hellions is a good strategy in TBT right now.
It is. It's so weird to consider because like a year ago, no one would have done that, but... Alright, Taeja doing some dancing. Of course, everyone knows with perfect micro, a Banshee does outrange Marines, but not significantly so you have to be very careful with your control.
Yeah, and the jig is up, you know, the Banshee's been revealed. Sjow is in the know as to what Taeja's doing now, and he's just got to respond appropriately. Oh!
Does get the scan off, can't quite kill the Banshee. It's not going to escape that scan. That's really unfortunate for Sjow, but...
This turret may be able to say something about it. Oh, no. Barely not.
Detection
The
range of the
turret
turret is big enough that it can pick up the Banshee from further away than it can fire, but the Marines are not in range of it over where they're standing.
And the energy's just about to run out on that Banshee, another 20 seconds or so. But the Stan's going to go forward. Small victories here for Sjow.
Yeah, but here comes another Banshee, so he's not out of the fire yet.
Yep, and back at home, Taeja responding to the build of Sjow by going for his third command center inside the main base. Has now established his command center down in his natural 2. Just want to point that out. His income is significantly less than Sjow at this point in the game.
Yeah, that is the downside to going for something like one base when your opponent opens with a command center. As we see here, the SCV difference is massive, and while Show's losing Marines, he can actually afford to replace them.
Looks like Taeja wants to try to do a Hellion run by at the front here. 2 of them postured. They will meet that bunker, but they should be able to get by without going down.
Yeah, the bunker is, it's great at keeping Marines alive, but it's not like it adds a ton of damage. It does add 1 range, but yeah, 2 Hellions are going to be pretty lickety-split. Meanwhile, that Banshee is hovering outside the base. Cannot go back in, though, because look at that turret Sjow threw down. I love this. This covers pretty much his entire base with detection. Not range to kill the Banshee, but at least the detection so he doesn't have to burn more scans. Oh, but Taeja coming out with a Raven, actually. Something really critical to the Terran army nowadays, because not only is Secret Missile cheap and effective versus Bio if you catch them off guard, auto turrets are amazing. Point Defense Drone negates Marauders pretty much.
And breaking those tank lines that's TBT. That's been TBT since Brood War back in the day. So, alright, this Banshee should be able to fall with a proper scan.
Nicely done by Sjow.
Falling down into the crevasse there. Alright. So Sjow feels pretty normal here, but Taeja has taken over the economy lead. Although he's down in SCVs, those mules really helping out having that triple mule at this point in the game. And if you look at the actual unit counts, yep.
There's not a lot to stop this push either. I mean, Taeja scouts it, but that's about it. When you look back at home, he's got 8 tank, he's got 8 bunker. He doesn't have a lot to defend.
And this is going to be an important engagement. The siege tank should be able to deter this, so I'm not sure Show's actually going to be able to get anything done here. But if he goes for that drop style, which he seems to favor, especially from that last game.
I think Taeja's picked up on this because, look, he already sieged the tank in the main, ready to deal with any drop that comes at any angle. Curiously enough, though, 2 Vikings at a time.
And am I seeing this right? Is Taeja going for mech here?
Whoa. Guys, this is how you know DreamHack's epic. When Taeja goes for mech. What the what? Again, I said in game 1, like, you know, he's capable of it for sure, but it's not a preference, as we've seen him multiple times play Bio. But this is really interesting. It's gonna be a true test of skill, actually, because mech is not an easy thing to pull off. But meanwhile, he might not have the opportunity if he can't hold on to this Doom.
The tanks on siege doing massive amounts of damage, getting in range of the tanks that were sieged, and Sjow continued to press forward here. Doesn't have anti-air though, so these 2 tanks will drop eventually.
Yeah, the Banshee chased him down.
An awesome barrack scout, going to see the fact that Sjow is going for a 3rd base already and placing it down in position there. I'll be shocked if that Banshee doesn't make its way over to that placing field. What's
kind of critical about Taeja playing mech, guys, is Sjow has shown that I'm trying not to say that word, I'm sorry, but Sjow has displayed that he's so effective with Bio. Taeja is worried about going toe-to-toe with him. By going mech, he's trying to shake things up and hoping to catch Sjow off guard. Now, Blue Flame, Hellbats, Hellions, they crush Marines.
They do, but I mean, he's got to be very careful not to get dropped. And I don't see any type of turret rings coming out here for Taeja. No sensor towers to try to detect when those coming in. And the medevac count is only growing here for Sjow in this game.
This is crazy. I've honestly, I can say, I've never actually seen Taeja firsthand like play mech. So I'm really curious about how this is going to go for him.
Like I feel like he did it in the GSL one time, but I can't remember it either.
Yeah, it's not something where he would go for it if he was unconfident. Like you wouldn't in a DreamHack, you wouldn't be like, okay, I'm gonna play mech just to be different, even though I've never done it before. No, so I mean, you know he's gonna have practice with this. But what's really curious is the fact that there's probably very few people who have seen this.
So a unique game. You guys are in for yet another special treat in this series. A TVT between Taeja and Sjow. Who'd have thunk this would be the best one? Oh, only Base Trade TV.
Don't be that guy right now, Doom. You're going to ruin the epicness that's been set in this series. But actually, I like this. Going to get for some supply depot walls, this is really critical to keep the Hellions from running by. That is, of course, one of the strengths of this matchup. If you're not dropping Hellbats, you're usually running by with Hellions.
Yeah, he tried to posture up with
Speaking of drops, here come those Hellbats. Dips too.
Quickly there from Sjow, though.
Yeah, that
really
was...
in position to respond.
Yeah, and the medevac almost went down to that missile turret. I like that Taeja actually didn't fully unload. He probably could have unloaded all 4 and killed most of the SCVs, but would have lost both medevacs, and in the end, not really worth it. But he will see... Oh, God.
Those drops, man. That's what I'm saying. No missile turrets, no sensor towers.
They're coming down, but way too late. There's a tank here, but it's but one tank. Sorry, now
Show's
two.
got stim. He's on top of the production facilities. He's got great position for the
Medevac's
aliens
getting
moving
dropped,
forward.
though. Is this going to hold, though, is the big question. There we go. The point defense drone comes down. The Marauders now going to be effectively useless for the next few minutes. So this will allow the Hellbats to sort of start pushing forward. If you can get past the tanks, you can definitely connect with the Marines. And the Vikings take out the Medevac. So no retreat for Sjow. He loses his entire drop and realistically doesn't kill much.
Yeah, not a lot taken down there, and so that's definitely a win for Taeja in that regard. You know, one of the big staples of mech is that when you lose that big army, that opens you up to being very vulnerable to other positions in the game. But you know, Taeja's got an established tank at his third base. He's got a nice line, you know, between the two bases there, and he's got a decent Viking count, which is going to enhance the range of his tanks further in the game. So I like his position, but I really like how Sjow expanded towards his opponent, so he can use that as like basically a jump off,
A point of contention as well.
Yeah. And behind it, he's going to take his fourth base relatively easily since that target has become, you know, pinpointed for Taeja.
Dude, I'm still so mature. Whenever I see two sensor towers like this on the minimap, I initially go boobies. I'm not going to lie. Every time in a TVT, the 12-year-old in me just can't grow up.
Oh, now I can't not see that. I mean, come on.
Man, there's so many tanks on the field for Taeja right now. But of course, the scary thing about mech, I mean, it's 12 tanks to 2, first off, but the scary thing is if you lose those tanks, they are not replaced easily. It's not like Marauders where you pump them out like crazy.
Yeah, but tanks have really got to be in position for them to be effective, and one of the things about Bio is the mobility. I mean, we've seen this story play out more and more in TVT, where the ineffectiveness of mech to move around the field and the effectiveness of Bio to be everywhere at once really seems to be why players favor Bio more so. You know, Taeja's really got to be on his toes here. He's got that sensor tower, and he's going to be just skirting around the edges of it so carefully.
I love that he already has these medevacs loaded up. He's going to actually lose all of them on top of the bio, forced to drop. That was really rough. I was going to say those medevacs are going to be so critical for engaging on top of the army, but not when you lose them like that. Taeja with a little bit of miscontrol. You know, that was critical. That's 3 medevacs gone. It's not about the Hellbats inside them, but the medevacs. Oh god, that's actually really rough because he's got no point defense drones. The tanks are going to get crushed by these Marauders if they don't have the proper amount of buffering.
It's a peculiar situation that we're seeing here develop.
It's a standoff. It really, in the pure simplest forms, it's just one giant standoff.
Yeah, but Show's continuing to take bases behind this while Taeja isn't, so it's, you know, we got to think about this from an economy standpoint, the cost effectiveness of Taeja's units versus the, you know, the static nature of what Taeja's going for. Unless Taeja transitioned into some type of, a bio himself, I'm not sure if this mech's going to be able to hold up against the increasing economy of Sjow and what seems to be an air Terran transition from Sjow 2, adding on 3 more starports.
Oh god, this is going to get wild. He's putting tech labs on, so we're definitely going to see some Ravens start coming out. Point defense is going to be critical because, of course, there's very little anti-air. Just those Vikings.
Medevac's getting really far ahead of themselves there.
Oh, but he drops on top of the Marines. The blue flame working wonders, but it's just not enough. There's way too much bio on the ground. The tanks, though, will clear out this ramp. And with no medevacs remaining, Sjow cannot stim forward.
There's no Hellbats for Taeja on the field. I mean, he's making 5 at a time right now, but they're just dropping like flies. The Marauder heavy composition of Sjow here. So I'm shocked that Taeja isn't going for any Ravens. They could definitely help out with point defense drones.
Well, I called Sjow going for Ravens, expecting that to be the case, but in fact, it's going to be Banshees, which is really interesting because he's not been able to take his opponent's Vikings down. If these Vikings were not in the field, I would understand the Banshee transition, but he's going to be playing a lot of luck and hoping that the Vikings are out of position if he wants to pick off those siege tanks, because Bio Banshee, you don't really move in with that. It just doesn't work.
No, and you know, scans are going to become increasingly important in this game, and Taeja's establishing planetary fortresses around the map, Brifkin. So he's only really got 3 command centers on the field. Meanwhile, you know, with Sjow, he's going to be able to duck in and dive out. And I'm curious if he's going to use those Banshees in straight up engagements, or he's going to try to pick off bases with them.
Well, Taeja getting some money scans off, sees the exact army composition as Sjow, and he sees it low, and that's got to put a lot of confidence in him right now. Because while both players are maxed out, well, almost maxed out, Show's army that he again, I'm trying not to use that word, but displayed. Why does he have to have that name?
Pocket Thesaurus is what we need for this.
We really do. But actually, wow, we got Thors coming out. This is kind of interesting.
Like
you don't see them a lot. You don't see them often because Marauders take them down so quickly. But you got to remember, Thors, if left unattacked, do the most damage I think in the game.
It's a great decision from Taeja, and I think it's sparked by the fact that he's been actively scanning his opponent's base to see what the competition
such a good position here, though. Going to get on that ramp, so no chance for Sjow to really advance with this. Again, though, those Vikings are going to zone out the Banshees, and even if they go for Cloak, they're not going to get really utilized to their fullest potential. But here comes some Vikings from Sjow, and he's finally going to make his move.
The plan is revealed here. Banshee.
Oh god, he's
Viking
picking off the medevacs full of units. The tanks are getting slowly picked off here. The Thors needed to be out, but they're not here. There's no ground to air support, and Sjow is actually winning the air battle. Actually, was winning the air battle. Now, unfortunately, has no Vikings left. He's going to sacrifice these Banshees to kill some more tanks, though.
Oh, Taeja looks like he wants to drop those Hellbats on top of the army, though, and it almost feels like Sjow could stem forward and maybe take out those tanks, but not sure. Maybe if he sends the SCVs in first, it feels like this army is very vulnerable for Taeja in this position because there's no reinforcements behind this. His army supply is dead even with Sjow at this point. If he loses this big conglomerate of units on the field here, it's going to be in a lot of trouble.
It's going to be so hard because actually Taeja, as awkward as his positioning is with those rocks, it's very difficult for the bio to get him close enough to attack the Thors, but oh no, he's going to tear down the rocks. Doom.
We've got cattle bruisers on the field.
Oh, actually, are they on the field or are they just on production? No, they're just in production, but yeah.
16 seconds in the
I love this choice because even Thors in their new transformed state, they don't exactly punch holes through battlecruisers. But okay, we got the drag of Hellbats. But they go down immediately this time, unlike last time. And actually, Sjow's going to break the ground army of Taeja before the battlecruisers even get on the field. But the Vikings, of course, going to take out the few medevacs left, so this bio army's not exactly going to recuperate quickly.
Rifkin Sjow has taken the army supply, and with the superior bio, he's got the mobility factor as well. Going to try to take down the Thors, going to try down tanks, but great micro there from Taeja to preserve as many units as he can. He knows he's on the ropes here in this game. He's been punched repeatedly by Sjow. His attempts at offense have been deflected repeatedly by Sjow.
But here come the battlecruisers.
He's making their field. Oh man, this.
Does he want to reveal this though? It would kind of be big to not reveal this early, I feel, but just going to go full ham with it. Drive back the army for the time being, because again, there's not a whole lot of anti-air. Transforming his Thor, of course, to do more damage to a single target, but of course, as we see here, these battlecruisers, they're built to take hits.
Wow. Tankies. They are the tanks of the sky. Holy crap.
Yeah, how's that? Is that one really going to live? Wow, 78 health. It does live to see another day, but as stated earlier, Sjow's got extra bases on the map. Taeja...
Yep.
Actually, you know, well, Sjow kind of is too. He hasn't re-landed this command center. He took this base back a while ago, but then never re-established it.
I think you know, one of the biggest factors here is the fact that Sjow's been preemptively going for this air style.
Taeja is now also making battle cruisers.
Oh yeah.
What? Forget game one. I thought game one was epic. This is going to be a clash of craziness in the air. The Sky Terran versus Sky Terran composition is going to be glorious. But I really feel the reinforcing properties that Sjow has, I think are really going to pay into this. Like maxing out a Marines after the battlecruisers wipe each other off the map and just stimming across the field. I don't know. I think it's going to go really well for him.
One of the big factors also is the upgrades here for Sjow. About to finish up 2-2 in the air. Yamato cannon, weapon refit on the way as well. Taeja is posturing forward on the field, though, with a very, very fearsome army, and the tanks rule the day in the TVT matchup, despite the fact that the air superiority isn't Sjow's favor. But here we go, big engagement going down.
He's got to deal with these Vikings, though, and the Vikings are actually doing work on those battlecruisers. Sjow has lost the ground, but he's barely winning the sky, which is going to allow him in turn to win the ground.
This put Taeja's on a decision. Does he charge forward? Does he retreat? He's stuck in the middle, though.
There's no good way out of this situation. He's going to lose units no matter what. Yamato Cannon's not quite done yet, so he can't quite pick off those extra tanks for free. But of course, let's not forget, Taeja has not revealed his own battlecruisers yet. Actually, did he cancel them? Or?
What an amazing scouter throughout the entirety of the series. Sjow, often known for not scouting at all, but he sees the base in the upper left-hand corner of the map.
This is actually really curious. He canceled his own battlecruisers and instead replaced them with more Vikings.
Oh, and a Seeker Missile going to go down on one of the BCs.
But you need like 9 Seekers to kill a BC, so I don't know.
Doesn't even tickle it.
Did he just Yamato his own BC? What was that? Or it looks like he attacked it or something. I have no idea what just happened there, but Vikings are going to kite the battlecruisers. Sadly, while they're good, they don't have a lot of range. So as we see, Taeja is tearing a hole into the sides of these guys' hulls.
Yep, and Hellbat drop to the right here is going to try to contend this planetary fortress. The Hellbats are being healed. They do have +3 damage, and that's doing a lot rapid damage to the planetary.
Hellbats are pretty good units from what I've heard.
And Sjow isn't healing with all of his SCVs.
Meanwhile, we got the battlecruisers coming out with some Marines on them this time, so the Vikings can't quite get those free hits off that they did before. But of course, the planetary fortress is here. He's got to be careful with that. The Bio going to say, forget it, I'm going to go towards the northern base. But of course, the Hellbats greet them. And, oh, where are those Yamato cannons? Not quite enough energy yet. This has
Yeah,
got to
I
be
don't
so
know.
frustrating for Sjow. He thought he had this ultimate Sky Army. I thought he had this ultimate Sky Army, but look at this, the bio. The small amount of bio on the ground, just tearing through everything, trying to charge up that ramp.
Oh, and this is reminiscent of MVP versus Top way back in the day, Rifkin. And Vikings in mass are better than battlecruisers. We have to consider that in the matchup. Have to consider that, and with the composition moving forward here, Taeja desperately trying to add on his ship weapons, level 2 at this point, just now starting the game. While Show's has been up for a long time, but his production is stifled, Rifkin.
Yeah,
his
income's cut. This is like one of his last money bases. The third or fourth base is pretty much gone, and Taeja has just established a brand new shiny base in the upper left corner of the map. So I think the economy is going to play the victor of this game.
Absolutely, that planetary fortress down may have been the most important factor in this game so far, and the Hellbats continue to be more and more effective with those medevacs continuing to heal him.
You know, Sjow.
And the base upper left is established, and he's taking another one at the same time.
This is what I love about high-level TVTs, though. You never know who's ahead, because it might look like it for a second. You've got Sjow, who's got the air dominance, and then suddenly, 2 moments later, it's Taeja who's charging forward. And this base is going to be evacuated, but none of these SCVs I think are going to get out alive. Maybe, okay, it looks like 3 will outrun the clutches of Taeja, but man, this is looking rough for Sjow. This is his last mining base, and he's mining it out quick. There's so many mules going to town on this.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where you got to take a deep breath, collect yourself, and figure out how am I going to bust out of this? How am I going to win this game? He knows that there are bases in the upper left that he needs to try to take down, but he's not going for any drops. He needs to try to defend his home because this army, this mech army, is pushing forward.
It's been low, and it hasn't gone above 150 in the longest time. It's not even at 150. Taeja maxed out with some great siege tanks and Thors. I think he's just going to slowly bleed. He's either going to bleed Sjow out, or actually Show's forced to do the giant push. If he doesn't break this here, he's going to lose this game.
And that looks like the nail in the coffin, Rifkin. The armor supply is 42 for Sjow,
Taeja.
131 for Taeja. This guy, Taeja, showing he could do bio, he could do mech, and he could be patient and persistent in this DreamHack Open. Definitely one of the players to watch, definitely one of the players to see. If he doesn't win it, I'm sure the guy who beats him will. GG called by Sjow. Taeja takes down the series 2-1.
What an exhausting series, but I'm not going to complain because it was absolutely epic, and we had a lot of you guys tuning in to watch it. So thank you guys for enjoying the series alongside us. That was a hell of a lot of fun.